Hey, welcome back to your 93 expansion Colorado Rockies. It's still May Day, 1993, 1st of May. Team did lousy in April, 9-14 record. I mean, we won 4 games, so yeah, there's that. I wanted to talk in this episode about pitching staff and my philosophies and sort of game strategy philosophies, game evaluation, player evaluation philosophies. And I think I can encapsulate that pretty quickly. I know I can, but I know it's possible, but can I actually do it? My girlfriend keeps getting after me about one of the things about having ADHD is I'll start off on a long tangent to explain a simple question. She'll be like, Burke, why are you down? And so I'll begin explaining to her about the Big Bang, and how the universe is constantly expanding. Anyway, it is possible. I've been practicing to be quick with my answers. So, 2 strategies that I started this sim with, and I am abandoning ship on both of them. The first one is finding pitchers with a high stuff rating over other things, because stuff yields strikeouts, right? Well, the problem with that, that's good, sure. Problem with that is we play at Coors Field. Let me give you a quick example. Let's go back to Trey McCoy. I was talking with you about him. Look at such a great point here. This is in 92, he played in Texas at Arlington, the ballpark at Arlington, a place I've been actually. I took my son there when he was a youngin', a little tyke. We had a great weekend. That was a long time ago. That was in the 90s, I think. Trey McCoy, this was, let me think. It was in the early aughts, the early noughts. That's when I took him. In fact, it might have been year naught itself. So we missed Trey McCoy. Yep, at the ball. Anyway, McCoy had 76 at-bats in the ballpark at Arlington. Now, compare his time on our roster so far in April 93. He's had 71 at-bats for us in Coors, approximately half of those in Coors Field. So 76 at-bats versus 71 at-bats. Similar sample size. 93 versus 86 plate appearances. Similar sample size. He has 17 hits in both. Again, very similar. He has scored 9 runs for us, 10 runs for Texas. Very similar. 4 doubles at Texas, 1 double at Coors. But look at this. 4 home runs while he's been on our roster at Colorado. No home runs while he was on the Texas roster. 8 versus 7 RBIs, 11 versus 13 walks. Only 14 strikeouts for us versus 34 strikeouts in Texas. I didn't really notice that. That's really interesting, isn't it? Same number of at-bats and a whole lot fewer strikeouts on our roster. No stolen bases, 1 caught stealing in both sample sets. His batting average, 239 for us, 224 at Texas, 372, 359. OBP is very similar. Slugging is where things start to diverge. He has a 423 slugging for us versus 276 Texas, 795 OPS, and 100 OPS plus compared to 79 OPS plus in Texas. And the WAR, wins above replacement, are similar, 0.6 and 0.5. So I wanted to just take a brief tangent here and show you evidentially with data the Coors Field effect. Comparing again, half of the appearances have been in Coors Field, half of the appearances were in the ballpark at Arlington. And just look at the difference. The wait a minute, doubles, doubles. Yeah, 4 doubles in Texas, 1 double in Coors Field. 4 home runs in Coors Field, 0 at Arlington. And I don't know how to explain this strikeout improvement. Woo! But I'll take it, man. I'll take it, bro. I'll take it. Very curious now. His 4 home runs, where did they happen? Let's look at 93 game log. Home runs starting in April 1st. Boop, boop. Where is the home run? There it is. That was at New York. That was away. This was home. So 1-1. Away. So 3 of his home runs are away. What? One of them at St. Louis. What? Maybe just forget everything I said. Maybe McCoy is just better than he was. I don't know, man. But what I wanted to talk to you about was pitching. Beep, 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 boop, boop. Back. Wait a minute. That's not what I wanted to do. I'm too far back now. Colorado pitching. Here we go. So I wanted to talk to you about all that to say, I thought the 4 home runs, I thought McCoy's 4 home runs was direct proof of the Coors Field effect. But now that I look at the game logs, I am full of dew. So, so that whole tangent, forget that whole tangent. My apologies. What I wanted to try to talk I wanted to leverage that into a discussion about movement. When I started, when I was going through the expansion draft, I was looking for guys under age 30 who were on reasonable contracts, under $1 million, that I could get and potentially sign for a long time to the roster. My thinking was, hey, I recognize these names, maybe they'll be good. And that was really the extent of my analysis. I recognized the names, I remember them as being decent, and so I'll grab them. We need starting pitching. And so that's how I chose them in the expansion draft. And 4 of these, probably actually 6, 7, or 8 of these guys in our on our pitching staff came from the expansion draft. Greg Olson was a trade. Kyle was an expansion pick. Wells was an expansion pick. Burba, Nunez, Shuriken, P.J. Smith, and Bobby Ayala and Darren Oliver were all expansion picks. Dave Stewart was a free agent acquisition, mostly because of his leadership skills, his captain personality. Greg Olson was a trade. I can't remember Enrique Burgos, but Dan Maselli came over in a trade as well. So I was looking for stuff, and so I have kind of populated the staff, the squad, with stuff. And David Wells has had a dramatic drop-off this year, unfortunately, in stuff. Unfortunately for my original objective. Secondary to stuff, I was looking for at least a 45 movement to keep the ball in the ballpark. But really, I was looking for control. Movement was really tertiary in my original plan. I was looking for firstly stuff, secondly control, and thirdly keeping a decent movement rating. That has really flipped on its head. I also have been looking for, as I kind of evolved my thinking, I've been looking for ground ball pitchers to keep the ball on the ground in front of us, that and get some outstanding fielders up the middle who can get to the ball and make plays on it. As you can see, we've got only one fly ball pitcher on the roster, and that's Dave Stewart. And I've been shopping him. The last time I loaded up, I haven't actually progressed in any game time since then, but I spent all my discretionary OOTP time yesterday trying to find somebody in exchange for Dave Stewart. And there's a lot of teams that are willing to trade for Stewart, but I really need a captain on my squad, and he's the only guy with a captain personality. I mean, we'll be lucky to play 500 ball this season, and I need a captain to keep the squad together. So anyway, I won't have a problem finding somebody to trade Dave Stewart to. My problem's going to be finding a captain personality type to replace him. He's the only guy who is a fly ball type pitcher, but he has also had some of the best results so far on the team. He's got a 3.75 FIP, and it's fantastic. 6.9 K per 9. He's good. I mean, it's less than 1 home run per 9. Excellent. Home run per 9 is huge in my when I'm looking at stats. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking at, rather. As you can see, I'm not always successful at keeping those guys off my squad, but so I've changed. We have strikeouts. I was successful in finding strikeout guys, even though I'm starting as an expansion club, with no history, no farm team. I'm number 1 in strikeouts in the league. Well, hooray. The problem is I'm giving up too many home runs. Home runs, let's see. Do I have a defensive home runs? I don't see. Runs against. Anyway, I am giving up way too many runs against. I mean, that's what it comes down to, runs against. But a lot of that, I think, is home runs that we have given up. How many? Let me go make a change. I customize my own. Just give me a home run, please. Total home runs given. Okay. And total bases would be good to know. And sure, runs if I've got room for it. Yeah, I do. Home runs. How many have we given up? We haven't given up that awful many. 8, 11, 14, 17, 23, 25, 26, 27. And let's compare that to somebody like, say the Yankees. We've given up 27. Oh, come on, man. I gotta customize that again. Pitching. Give me home runs and total bases and runs. Okay, and also I want to save it. Save is the same name. Hurl G. Save, yes. Okay. Home run. They've given up a lot. They get up 27. What about Atlanta? Okay, wait, Atlanta. That should be my gold standard. Except for Dave Need, these guys don't give up any. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They've given up 11 home runs. And we've given up, what, 20-something? Okay, well, enough of that. But movement. All that to say, for my starting rotation, for both starting and relief, I'm going to start looking at movement as being a priority. Now, only have one plus movement player on the roster, and that's Greg Olson. And we do have him to, let's see, contract this year. Is he ARB? Yeah, he is ARB eligible. What do you want for an extension? Holy crap. He wants $2.6 million. I didn't know, dude. I can't afford that. He may be a short timer for us because we don't need the fancy schmancy for now. We need to start getting movement in our pitchers. That's really my number one priority. And that's, again, I could have said all that in, one easy sentence, but it's the ADHD, man. I apologize for it. Control, of course, is important for pitchers, but, you know that. Let's look at by innings pitched. Let's talk about each of these pitchers. Let me bring up each pitcher, and we'll go through them and give you my thoughts. Dave Stewart's falling off rapidly. My scout doesn't even really show. He's fallen off so fast, my scout doesn't even show it. But his movement has fallen off by 10 points since I picked him up in the end of February, 1st of March. I think March 4th. Oof. His movement has fallen off. He's now, if you think of these ratings, 20 to 80, you think of them as a bell curve and look at them in a kind of a 3D. Let your mind zoom and say a 50 rating is the peak of the curve, of the bell curve, or call it the valley of a bell curve, because a valley is more easy to visualize because that's where players tend to cluster, and everyone tends to congregate at 50 at the midpoint. If you visualize it as we normally do as a mountain or as a hill, then it's all too easy to visualize gravity pulling things down the hill, as the top of the hill is a point of instability. In reality, the top of the hill or the bottom of the valley is a point of stability. It's where most of your data cluster, right? Most samples cluster. So I find it easier to think of this instead of being a linear graph. I tend to visualize a bell curve here, or a bell curve valley, with most people in the midpoints, 50. And Stewart's falling lower. He's fallen off the mountain, or he's climbing out of the valley on the backside. So I want to trade him, but if I keep shopping him, his transaction score is going to go way down. But I could actually stand to do it with him. I could get some prospects for him, and I think I might want to. But here I am griping. He's performed outstanding for us. He's our number one guy in the rotation, and he's just eating up innings. And I thought he was a bargain. I actually signed him to he asked for a minor league contract with $750,000 if he was brought up in a month, and I offered him $650,000, and he took it. And I've just been pleased as punch with this guy. So that's Dave Stewart. Pete Smith. Oh, let me tell you one more thing about Dave Stewart. A man among boys in terms of leadership. He is a captain. And that is just about, it's equal to me to his outstanding performance. Pete J. Smith. Pete, he's 27, $540,000 contract, and he's on contract until for one more year at $540,000. So happy with that. He does have a World Series champion ring from 1992 Braves. Congrats to the 92 simulation Braves. Maybe in one episode I want to tell you a little bit more about those Braves. They made some weird acquisitions in the offseason. But anyway, Pete Smith, he was unprotected on the Braves roster, and I picked him up in the expansion draft. And I like this guy. He's pitching decent for us. He started off his season with 2 consecutive losses. Especially his second start was a very rocky start. Sorry, pardon the pun. He only made 67 pitches in that first start to pick up a loss. But since then, he has pitched well. 1 earned run, a quality start in his third game. A good start in his fourth game, gave up 4 runs in 7 innings. And a good start in his most recent game, gave up 1 run in 5 2/3 innings. So, I'm happy with his performance. He has given up 3 home runs, but his HR per 9 is under 1, which is good. BB per 9 is 2.1, is good. ERA plus 126. This guy's performing, so I'm happy with Pete J. Smith. Let's see. He is a 5-pitch dude with 4 good pitches, and his changeup is not great, and he's also got a lot of stamina. Happy with him. Pete Shuriken. Shuriken is adored by fans. He is a fan favorite, and I was ecstatic to see that. He is unhappy because of his performance. And let's see why. I love this because it's early enough that you can see all their starts. He's given us, except for his last start was not great, but he got a no decision against the Cubbies. We actually ended up winning the game, but that was a game. 426. We beat Greg Maddux. Greg Maddux was the starter. And he took the loss. Take that, Maddux. Take it. I remember this game because I was looking at it and I was like, well, we lost that game. I'd already lost the game before we even played it. It's like the art of war, the art of failure by Dog. Lose the game before you ever even start it. So anyway, Pete Shuriken, he's performed. How has he performed? He's got 4 starts, 25 innings, allowed 25 hits, 4 home runs, and not the greatest. 1.4 home runs per 9. Don't like that. His whip is good, 1.30. Like that. BB per 9, 2.8. That's manageable. K per 9, 9.8. It's fine. It's fine. ERA plus 92. Everything's fine except a couple of too many home runs, and he gave up those couple of too many home runs in his most recent start. So if he can just give up 1 home run per start, and if he can give us 6 quality innings in each start, I'm cool with it. And if he doesn't, I mean, what am I going to do? What you going to do? He's age 23. Maybe he can still improve. I don't know. David Wells. This guy's been a bit of a mystery. I really thought he was going to be great. He's age 29. He's making $860,000 this year, and we're on the hook for $860,000. I'm sorry. We're on the hook for $1.2 million next year. We do have a team option of $1.3 million in '95, and actually, I think I am the one who negotiated that contract. And yes, I am a fool. I did. But at least I kept old Boomer here to, I do have a team option in his second year. So, unfortunately, he's a borderline starter now, and he might be falling off the backside of the hill too. He was better than this when I recruited him. He has had 4 starts, 22 innings, 35 hits, 3 home runs, 8 walks. His whip is 1.9. He's given up a lot of hits, a lot of contact. Home run per 9 and 1.2. It's acceptable. Base walks per 9, 3.2. These are acceptable, but they're not great. The problem is they're not offset by a high K per 9 rating, so his strikeouts are not offsetting these walks and hits. I guess that's a good argument against what I was just talking about, movement, isn't it? Maybe I need to keep working, making sure our defense is really good behind him. You know, I wish there was an option to set our lineups. You know what would be really cool is to have an option where it says lineups behind pitcher A, pitcher B, pitcher C. You know, what's my lineup behind David Wells? I need to have my best defensive guys in the center of the field here. And I typically do most of the time, but I just want to make sure that when Wells is starting. So, you know, that would be good to have that kind of option. Yeah, Wells' starts. He's only given up 1 home run per start. His last start, he really got rocked by the Cardinals. 6 earned runs in 5 innings. Yeah, that was tough, man. Before that, he was kind of keeping his stuff together. He had a rough start against the Mets, his first start. Then 2 quality starts, and then, yeah. So he looks like he's either hit or miss here. Oops. Why did... I need to go back to Colorado pitching. There we go. Because my... Oops, that's not pitching. Pitching? Come on. Give me pitchers here. There we go. And we were doing what? Movement? Nope. Stuff. What did we start with overall? Innings pitch. That's what we were using. And I'm looking at the clock and realizing that this episode has gone long enough. I'm going to put a break here, and I'll talk with you more about pitching in the next episode.